What's going on, y'all, and welcome back to another Epic 7 video. The balance adjustment preview is live, and just a heads up, guys, a lot of y'all are going to be maybe kind of upset, both in terms of what they chose to buff, as well as the quality or just sort of buff choices for the units given. I did like a few of them, but overall, it's very tame, very underwhelming. Come along with me. We have a lot to talk about, but there are some things I think Smilegate definitely missed out on. There's units like Blood Moon, Haste, and Charon that I don't know, they're kind of just leaving alone for now, I guess, and instead opting to buff some other units. But yeah, let's go ahead and break it down here. I think if I wasn't having so much fun with Luluka, Summer Luluka, Lethe, and then upcoming Landy, Moonlight Landy, I think I'd be a little bit more upset here, but overall, I'm kind of just, you know, it is what it is. But let's go ahead and look here, guys. The unit buffs in question, the two Moonlights, are Ruelle of Light and Lionheart Cermia. We have Haste, Tenebria, Mort, Silk, and Suthan for the 3-star, and then we have Rise of a Monarch, Dux Noctis, and Steadfast Gatekeeper for the artifact. So very, very tame overall, guys, both in terms of what they buffed and the units they chose. And there's also going to be something we're going to talk about at the end with restrict changes, so make sure y'all stay tuned for that. All right, let's go ahead and start from the top. We got Ruelle of Light, and just a heads up, guys, if y'all haven't been playing too long, Ruelle kind of ran the game in the first couple seasons of endgame RTA. A lot of PvP, Guild Wars also. She was just the main Soul Weaver. So strong. Before there was so much extinction flying around, Ruelle was the premier Soul Weaver, and I think it's good that we're not in that era anymore, as she really slowed down the game a lot, and a lot of people found it boring because she was just so strong, so solid. She would always just keep reviving over and over. But in terms of the buffs they gave, let's look at these. Key to an Oath, right, which is the skill 1. This is actually a change they made to a lot of different Soul Weavers, or just units in general, where instead of having it scale off the healing amount scaled off the allies' max health, it'll now scale off Ruelle's, which is just more consistent, but very, very minuscule in the grand scheme of things, right? This is something like a lot of players won't even notice, and depending on the unit, you won't even notice too much either. Now, Light Pillar, right? This, I believe, is a skill 2. Yeah, this is the skill 2, which just gave like a big buff, a full cleanse, or sorry, a big heal and a full cleanse. Now it's going to also increase the combat readiness of the caster by 25%, right? Which is nice. That's definitely something that Ruelle needs. She's a slower tempo unit. A lot of the Soul Weavers nowadays are just much faster tempo, meaning they do a lot more in the game, especially at earlier rounds. Ruelle much slower, really wants to grind you out, get those big revives. So this will help a lot. I shouldn't even say a lot, guys. To be honest, like, these two together aren't going to change too much. If you were a Ruelle user already, this is going to feel even better. If you never used Ruelle before, I don't imagine you're going to be rushing to pick her up just because of these buffs. Very, very safe, very tame. But like I mentioned, might be a good thing, because I was fearing when I saw her name on the list, like, she's going to have an anti-extinction skill 3 for the first time, like an anti-extinction revive. So it seems like Smilegate decided to be very safe. Let me know, guys, what you guys think about the Ruelle changes. All right, Lionheart Cermia. Now, this one's interesting, okay? A lot of players, I think, watching, and especially if you're newer, might think Lionheart Cermia is very good. This is, I think, catered to a more endgame, like Emperor plus RTA level buff, because she does suffer the higher up you go, guys. She can get controlled. She can just straight up get killed. I think things like combat readiness, so that she can proc her skill 3 faster, right, after getting her, you know, buffs when your opponent dual attacks, extra attacks, whatever counters. I think this is great. I think she just needed some small love. I've been saying this on my streams, that Lionheart Cermia, it would be nice to get a little bit of buffs for her so she feels more consistent, a little bit better, because she's very hard to run when you fight good and well-geared opponents. However, I don't think she's more important than units like Blood Moon Haste, like Moonlight Charon, for example. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm very happy for these. Now, I don't think she needed damage dealt increased. I think her damage is fine. It was just getting her to do the skill 3 with her buffs activated, right, without her dying or being controlled, debuffed, etc. I think that's where the problem was. A lot of people can just strip her buffs too. But, you know, damage dealt increase might help with that. So let's say your defense buff gets stripped. Maybe that'll make up, and she'll still feel like a good unit. Maybe can still, like, snipe out the Spectre Tenebrias hiding in the background. But overall, I don't know if she needed that. But combat readiness plus this is going to be pretty significant. Just be aware, guys, she still has a lot of counters and a lot of counterplay, especially the higher up you go in World Arena. I don't even need to read the changes, but once again, like, I think there's other Moonlight units that probably needed the love more. Blood Moon Haste is the big one, right? Anything that comes to y'all's mind for Moonlight 5s, maybe Rowana, but she's pretty new still. All right, as we go on, guys, we got Haste here, and let's see, Haste. He now has a defense break, which is nice, but 50% chance is very low. Here's what I've understood from Haste, because after his rework, he used to be a golem farmer, then they changed him to more like a speed contester, like cleaver style unit. He's kind of like a budget Rand, so most people already have Rand that want to cleave. And I don't think this is going to be enough to change it. The exclusive equipment as well, he's going to have... Okay, so he gets more defense break chance increase if you want it. Or extend duration. I think this is just another one, guys, where if you ran Haste, it's more of like a budget option, or you're one of the few big Haste fans out there. But I think for like higher level play, this shouldn't change too much in terms of like him being in the meta, which is fine, right? Not every unit has to be in the meta. But yeah, for anyone that wanted like Haste to be really good, I think this is a good start, but it's not going to change too much overall. Now, Tenebria. Tenebria is one, guys, like, who have they buffed a lot in the past? They keep buffing units like Euphene and things like that. I think Tenebria is just a Smilegate favorite. Someone back there in the balance team loves Tenebria, loves Euphene. Melissa, right? There's a few units you see over and over. But Tenebria's been changed a bunch. She was used sometimes. I haven't seen her, like, in the past multiple seasons in a long while. But she was usually used as, like, a control unit. Now she's going to have the Restrict, which don't forget, we're going to talk about Restrict changes here in a second. So Restrict is nice, and she can now Soulburn for more damage. And then Nightmare is going to... The Soulburn change on Nightmare over to Ominous Thunder. She's also going to get that cooldown slight decrease. I think she's also okay in some PvE scenarios. Because she does have a lot of nice debuffs. And then she's going to change her imprint concentration from dual attack to effectiveness. Okay, so once again, the whole theme of this patch, guys, is very tame buffs. Like, most of the time, y'all aren't even going to notice these. These are just for the character enthusiasts, the collectors, people that like really love Tenebria already, that were already using her. Hey, they might notice that she got a little better. But overall, this isn't enough to make her like usable for people that weren't already using her. Does that make sense? But yeah, very, very... Smilegate going for a very slow approach, maybe because of the upcoming WC. Oh, she also has an exclusive equipment change. Oh, wow. This is actually, guys, I take that this might be significant. She's going to get increased greater attack. So that's kind of nice, right? Gab, greater attack buff is very significant. So maybe even for PvE stuff, that could be good. Maybe PvP. We'll see. That's actually pretty cool. Am I missing anything, though? No, they just straight up changed the option 3 from decreased cooldown. Because she's going to have that base now, and now she's going to get Gab, which is cool. Okay, so that's more than just a little bit tame, but... Let me know if you guys are a Tenebria fan, if that's enough to make her like really good. Now this one I can definitely commentate on, guys. Mortelix is one of my favorite units. I triple S this guy when he first came out. I like the idea of the dragon boss. But let's see here what they're changing. They're gonna make the basic skill Sacred Blessing increase from 150 to 100, which is good. This is very good for consistency. I actually fight there's a few Mortelix mains out there. They have the Mortelix rep, and this unit is actually good versus my own playstyle, which I play very slow and very like high effect resist. Mortelix, if you guys weren't aware, when he does have his full buffs going, when he has that Sacred Blessing, the Sacred Blessing is just the crit hit resist plus speed up, but also when he is enraged, he ignores effect resist. So he was good for that reason, and now he's going to be more consistent with the Sacred Blessing on top of that. Additionally, they're reducing the skill 3 cooldown by 1 turn. So 3 turns is actually very nice. Feels way better, guys, than 4 turns. A lot of matches are decided but before Mortelix even has 3 turns to go through. Or 4 turns, I should say. Now it's 3. But they're going to reduce the souls you get as well as the healing. Okay, so they're not changing the damage or the injury amount, which is nice because it's a 3-turn cooldown. But they're going to lower the healing and the souls because it is faster. It'll proc faster. Anything I missed here? But yeah, the rage, like I mentioned, guys, the rage with the Sacred Blessing consistency, the fact that he can defense break and ignore effect resist makes him good in certain compositions. Don't sleep on Mortelix. That's not a pun because he's immune to stun and sleep. I think this is actually going to make him much nicer. Once again, though, still fairly tame, all things considered, if we compare it to like other balance patches. But I think this is one of the better buffs, which is kind of sad to say, but more fans out there, this is good. Very good for him. Now, Silk, guys, to be honest with the 4 stars, most 4 stars in the game are kind of just like either good for like certain hunts or maybe like Abyss. Silk, I think, could be okay as a unit. I haven't seen her I don't think I've seen her ever in a PvP match. But any Silk enthusiasts, let's see. I think she does have a cool kit. They're just adjusting numbers here. More damage dealt on the skill enhancements. And yeah, honestly, guys, I don't think I'm going to spend too long on this one overall. She's going to have a Dispel. Okay. And then automatic fire. Attacks enemy with arrows, decreasing combat rates by 10%. Damage dealt increasing proportional to max caster speed. And has defense pen by 20%. Okay. I mean, hey, this could be cool, like I mentioned, for those one-off scenarios of like certain PvE modes. People that were already using Silk. Could be cool. More for like, yeah, kind of just for fun. Suthan, though, if he gets a special SC later, this could be significant. I think his kit was actually very interesting when I looked at it last time. But now that he's also going to get some defense on top when he stacks up that, you know, that scaling. And this can also now go up to, oh no, sorry, same thing. They just added the defense. And he's also going to inflict a second burn effect, it looks like, on top of that. So he had low viability to low base stats. Yeah, because he's a 3-star. He needs a special exchange. But that's kind of cool. If he does get an SE later, maybe could be very strong. But yeah, if y'all notice, right, guys, the theme is just kind of very safe, very tame, underwhelming sort of balance adjustments. And the second thing is I think they missed a lot of heroes that people were expecting. So I don't expect a lot of you guys are going to be too happy with this patch overall. But we're not done yet. Let's look at the artifacts here. Rise of the Monarch, the 5-star knight artifact, is now going to increase defense not only for the user, but also for all allies, which I think is good. This artifact, I don't want to say it's like super niche, but it's definitely not as common as things like Aureus. So this is going to bring it more in line for people that did like to run it. Typically faster kind of knights can make great use of that. Dux Noctis, the ranger artifact, is now going to get a pretty significant increase in attack scaling. So this one, guys, might have potential. The problem is the ranger sort of field is very, very stacked. Most rangers need things like guiding light. So maybe more PvE stuff. This could be insane for PvE. I'm not sure. I don't really play too many rangers. But they're also reducing the amount of times it can stack total. But that's okay because this increase is actually huge. This is actually quite a big increase, right? 3 times at max. Steadfast Gatekeeper. Same thing. This is more of a PvE artifact, or it's pretty much only a PvE artifact. But it's going to now also increase defense of all allies by 5%. So this would be good, especially for newer players. It's a 4-star budget. But yeah, once again, not very impactful overall. But could be nice for newer players that need some additional help surviving certain PvE modes. All right, guys, and last but not least, what am I looking at here? Oh, Steadfast Gatekeeper is going to be recallable. Okay, whatever. Last but not least, we have Restrict. Now, this one's actually very significant in the grand scheme of PvP. Beforehand, if you weren't aware, guys, Restrict, right, obviously doesn't allow units to increase their combat readiness. But it also had the negative drawback of if you have an opponent that has Restrict on and you try to reset combat readiness, push them back, excuse me, guys, that was a mouthful, then, you know, obviously, because the Restrict says no combat readiness could be applied, that wouldn't work. Now it seems like Restrict will now only prevent the target from being influenced by the combat readiness increasing, right? So you can push them back now. So Restrict actually got quite a bit better. There's actually a lot of interactions that this happens with because there's so many units that manipulate combat readiness and especially have combat readiness pushback. So could be pretty big. Let's go ahead and look at the comments real fast here, guys. I think the rule buff is a bit of a miss. You guys forgot about him. Okay, Ron. There's some memes flying around from my boy Coven. Okay, there's some profanity in there, and we keep it kind of PG on YouTube. All right, guys. Overall, let me know what you think. I don't expect a lot of y'all to be happy. We gotta wait another 2 months for the next balance patch. So overall, it is what it is. Have fun, guys, with units that are coming out. But beyond that, this isn't gonna change too much. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.